Looks like a runaway souvenir stand, but it's an art car that belongs to Steve Karsh and Gary Ann Seawick of Regina, Saskatchewan. This buggy is prepared for anything, even emergency pit stops. And to think it all started out as spring cleaning.
I was cleaning the basement, and Steve was looking for stuff to put on the car. So I said, you know, here, take all this stuff. You can have all the stuff that that I've cleaned out of the basement. You can either trash it, have a garage sale, or he decided to glue it on the car.
The Trashmobile may be Steve's baby, but he dreams of the day he hands over the keys to daughter Carmen. And Carmen says,
in their dreams, I don't think so. Nice car, maybe like 95 Volkswagen. Bug, that sounds like a good car.
It's going to be the garage sale car or the junk car or whatever, but on the back of the car, there's a bumper sticker. It says, love your mother, and it's kind of like, love your Mother Earth. And I thought it's a good idea that Carmen loves her mother.
That's kind of interesting, I guess, but not my name. No, thank you. Because it's not really that great of a status thing to have your name on the back of a car.
and what's even worse than having your name plastered all over the back of your parents' car? Being seen with them at a garage sale, where they're looking for even more junk to glue to your car. Steve and Gary Ann may be right at home in the world of weird, but not Carmen. Not yet, anyway. She's the reluctant caboose in this family caravan.
These are not too bad, really.
I got these brass boxes, which are kind of cool. I got a brass section on the fender there. So that's going to go on the brass section, and then this is going to go with the my telecommunications section. That's where these puppies are going.
Yeah, Steve, that should win Carmen over. Or maybe not.
It's traumatic. I mean, she says that we're ruining her social life, you know. She won't let us, she doesn't want us to drive those cars anywhere near her high school, or we can't park them out in front of the house for fear that someone dropping her off will see the car and ask her if it belongs to someone in her family. She's in denial, of course. Yeah, I kind of feel sorry for her.
I want to have a normal family because I try to be normal and go to a normal school, have normal friends, and then, I don't know, because it's hard, because if they wanted to come over to my house and they saw, or if they wanted to come to the cottage and saw all these cars here, they would, I think they'd be scared away.
I was kind of hoping Carmen would be driving it to school this year. It would be fun to see it as a kind of a daily driver, but I'm still working on that. I don't think Carmen's quite convinced that it's something that she should drive. Although I think, like, the boys at school would like it. And they think she'd be pretty cool driving it, but I don't think she's quite convinced yet.
But if Steve's car's too weird, couldn't Carmen drive Gary Ann's car to school? Mom's car is just a different kind of goofy. Much to Carmen's dismay, the family sedans are automotive extensions of their drivers.
Yes, they do reflect who they are, because they're weird people.
So I randomly covered the car in doodles. This is my famous doodle, the hair on fire doodle, the devil doodle. You know, filled in a couple of bugs here and there. The Mexican skull doodle. Oh yeah, I like this doodle. This is the Sasquatch doodle with the hairy back. And this is a doodle that looks like my husband when he gets angry.
Carmen just wasn't born to be weird, but some neighborhood kids think the cars are a hoot.
I love it when I get little girls come over or kids come over and they just start looking at it and they just kind of go nuts over it. And for me, it's kind of moving. Like I wouldn't say it's an emotional thing, but it certainly stirs me a little bit.
Look at all the parks. Look at the little baby shoe here.
Why is the toilet stuck?
Hey, why?
Yeah.
Well, it's handy. It's always nice to have toilet stuff around. Yeah. You have to blow your nose, and then you can honk into the toilet paper. It always comes in handy.
Come on, Carmen. Wouldn't it be a blast to drive the junkmobile if nobody was around to see you?
I guess there could be if it was out far, far away from everybody that possibly know me. I guess it would be okay for maybe 10 minutes, and then I'd be sick of it.
It's not as if Carmen doesn't have other options. She could always take the wheel of Steve's other car, the one known as the Chevelle from Hell. Who knows, Carmen? Maybe someday you'll wake up and realize that deep down inside you're just as weird and outrageous as Mom and Pop.
Maybe deep down, could be. I haven't really found that spot yet.
Well, hang on now, Carmen. Let Steve show you what this baby can do. Farther north on the Canadian prairie, a young fella cruises the evening away in his '83 Chevette. Well, it used to be a Chevette. Some folks get their teeth capped, but Kevin Elliott bottle capped his entire automobile. Not surprisingly, Kevin gets more than his share of police pullovers, but he gets other kinds of attention too.
If we're going to a party, you know, you just drive up and, you know, everybody's around and, oh, look, it's the bottle cap car, and, you know, that's you, you know, it's your car, and they all come around and ask about it, and then you missed your popularity for 10 minutes, you know, as opposed to just driving in the beater.
Oh, cool. Look at that. Like on the floor mats.
Kevin has his admirers all right, including his own mother, Lana, and she remembers exactly how the bottle cap car got started.
At the end of last August, he bought an '85 Trans Am. You couldn't touch it, you couldn't go near it, you couldn't breathe on it. He was being so careful with it that he wasn't having fun with it. And he wrecked it and ended up buying this $250 wreck. And then he started thinking, and this is Kevin, this is a real Kevin thing. I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna make it fun, I'm gonna make it good.
Mom and Dad gave Kev's cap car concept their support, but conditional support.
His father's concern was legality. It can't be legal. And my concern was safety. I figured if the caps weren't glued on there really good and he's going 60 kilometers somewhere and hit somebody in the eye, this just wouldn't be very good. That was my main concern.
When I started, I used really strong glue to hold the bottle caps down. They won't come off. I made sure it was the best glue I could buy.
Kevin's always on the lookout for more raw material. He and his pals regularly check out local party venues.
We'll go to Gemini first. How's that sound?
We'll go out there and we'll spread out.
Kevin's out of high school and working in construction while he figures out what to do next. Next on the agenda today is a visit to the local ballpark, where late-night carousers have been known to drop a bottle cap or two.
If I'm desperate and I need some pretty quick, I'll come out to a park around here where there's been people and they've been drinking and find some caps on the ground. I'll go in a garbage can if it's not too gunked up. You know, cap's pretty important to me. I'd like to get as many as I can.
Pals like Matt Perrette know just how much Kevin's pastime means to him.
His car has changed his life in a few ways. He's definitely closer to his friends. We do a lot of bonding while we're gluing the caps on his car. He actually likes to go cruising 8th Street. He used to think, well, unless you had a nice car, you can't cruise 8th Street. But like, it's not that great a car, but he's proud of it.
All right, good all, guys. Let's get out of here.
It's a good thing Kev's got friends who back him up, because when you're born to be just a little bit different, you can bet that around the next corner is a party pooper waiting to pounce.
That's really showing intelligence when you advertise liquor on vehicles and you try to stop drinking and driving. So you put beer caps all over your car to draw attention. It's a good thing it's on a Chevette. If that was my son who's driving a car like that, he'd be going to SGI salvage to crush.
I've often said I'd much rather have him sitting in the garage doing this till 1 o'clock at night instead of sitting in the bush somewhere drinking with the kids. I mean, I know he does that the odd time too, but it's a choice here to sit in the garage on weekend nights and do this. And as a mom, I have to say I'm happy about that. Hi, honey.
There's about 8,000 caps on the car so far, and about $600 worth of glue.
Needing any special caps or anything?
Yeah, the K, kokanee.
Kokanee K?
Yeah.
Pass you the bud?
Lana doesn't just stand behind her son with words of encouragement. She does hard time out in the garage, just like Kevin.
I started because I do smoke and I don't want to smoke in the house. I smoke out in the garage. And all these ball caps sitting all over the place, scattered in little piles, whatever. So I thought, oh, these guys, they won't have the patience to sit and sort. So I thought, I'll take a pail and sort a pail and see where it goes. So I had little piles all over the floor. Gotta go get the Ziploc bags and make sure they stay in bags. So it kind of got into a project. And then it got to be an obsession with me. And I'd sit out here and I'd say, okay, one more smoke and then I'm gonna go in. Well, I'm just about done this pail. Well, I'll finish this pail, then I'm gonna go in. So I got a little anal with it, a little obsessive with it.
Lots of people I know say, oh, why would someone do that to their car? But like, he's got a lot of guts. He deserves respect. You don't have to worry about what other people think. It's all about what you think. If you like your car the way it is, then drive it like that.
And Kevin does, and enjoys every moment of it.
Well, Saskatoon's pretty boring, and it's pretty boring just driving around, but when you drive around in a special car like this car, it makes it more fun. You just have a more happier atmosphere. There's so many bottle caps around, it's just freaky.
If I did something in raising him that made him realize it's okay to be yourself, it's okay to go out there and say this is me and not be afraid of laughter or ridicule, then I've done something right.
From every kid who ever worried that maybe they were born to make waves, thanks, Mom. Seattle, a city big enough and busy enough to absorb just about anyone, no matter how eccentric. But this urban jungle has met its match in Kelly Lyles. Artist, art car creator, and a woman with huge feelings for felines. And fun.
I once was dating a man that said to me, "You have too much fun. You don't work hard enough." But my response was, well, I own the home and my car runs. You know, he had the 5 cars up on blocks and he was a renter, so. But I do. I have a very fun life.
And it's funny how some folks simply can't accept that. Like the woman who just couldn't bend her mind around Kelly's love of animal cars.
And she kept asking me, why do you do this? Which is a question you get a lot. It's like, well, because it's fun, because I got started because my first car was a Pinto, and it was so embarrassing to be seen in a Pinto that I painted it with horses and glued horse things all over it. And then had this one, and it just seemed like basically an easy paint job. I could whip out a bunch of spots in a weekend. But this woman just was not satisfied with any of those answers. She asked me why, like 15 times.
Alas, even a cat car can have mechanical troubles. That engine should be purring. But it sounds like it's got a hairball.
But there's definitely a whoop, 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 whoop kind of a sound. I called my mechanic about it last week, all in a panic, and he calls me a hypochondriac. He claims I'm always hearing noises, but I've also always owned older cars.
Luckily, Kelly's cat car gets her home. Yep, definitely sounds grumpy. Be a real shame to see this mobile game farm wind up at the car crushers. Time to put in a call to Bob the mechanic.
Okay, Bob, now I know you think I'm overreacting, but this time the Weird Wheels people heard it too. There is definitely a brum, 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 brum. I think it's when I'm taking my foot off the brake. I can't be sure, but are you sure I can't get it in before Tuesday?
Please, Bob, it's not just for Kelly. Her closest friends are counting on you.
I am a visual artist, do a little bit of commercial art, illustration design, but like to consider myself primarily a painter and also an art car artist.
Art car artist. What's that mean, Kelly?
It means you have a lot of fun and don't make much money.
Cats have claimed every inch of Kelly's home habitat. Does that mean she has a feline personality?
Other than loving to eat and lay around a lot, no, I don't think of myself with feline tendencies. I think of myself more like a little rodent, you know, sort of cute and perky and bouncing off walls and running in circles on my wheel. So I painted this little hamster holding a can of Spam. People seem to really get a big kick out of it. Then came maybe the mice-a-roni, which was, you know, rice-a-roni, but in the form of mice-a-roni, and all these little rodents pouring out. Then I did Benson and Hedgehogs. So there's a whole series. I've probably done about 15, 17 of these paintings.
So is Kelly an out-and-out attention seeker? You bet. And proud of it.
One of the other artists said that to me, "You're just trying to get attention." I was like, what? You know, I don't think you do this if you want to fade into the woodwork.
No chance of that for Kelly Lyles. She may seem odd to some, but Kelly's happier than a cougar on catnip.
Other than my income, I love my life. I love going to art openings. I love going to, which I go to a lot. I'm very involved in the Seattle art scene. So every night some friend is having a show, and you know I tend to go with the free hors d'oeuvres.
There goes Kelly Lyles, padding out to stock some finger food in the Seattle art scene. Go get him, Tiger. Oh yeah, and you might want to pick up a little meow mix for the engine. Sounds like a cow, but it moves like a car. It's the Cowmobile, the pride of Cockeysville, Maryland, and the property of Mike Crowart.
I bought it about 10 years ago for a very low sum of money. It was sort of ugly at the time. In fact, we called it the dog car because there was an old lady who owned it and left her dogs in it, and they managed to chew up the interior, and it had a certain smell to it, but it had some character.
More than one character. Mike first reinvented the dog car as a chariot for Superman, but that incarnation gave way to a more bovine makeover.
At the time, I was dating a young lady who liked cows, so we thought it might be a good idea to make a cow car. So, of course, it was just a matter of getting some black paint and putting some spots on it. And then, of course, then the jokes started coming.
The puns come from a long line of groaners in the Crowart family. Papa Joe Crowart runs this art gallery in Ocean City, and he's always encouraged Mike to run with his imagination just as far as it wants to go.
I think that is the best message to give your kids, because they need to do what they feel they want to do in life that's satisfying. And it's not going after the biggest job because it pays the most. It's doing what you want to do, and you'll be much more successful.
Mike's racked up successes in both business and art, but there's only one horn we want him to blow today.
One of the special features of the cow car is, of course, the cow horn, which says a lot about the way the car feels. Sometimes it's very quiet and kind of reflective. And then other times, you can tell she's got a little fury behind her. So, you pretty much play it that way, and depending on how she sounds, you're careful with her. And of course, since I do drive the car, and I keep, you know, day's rations in there, just to make sure there's something to graze on. Just roll it out, and she's pretty much happy.
Go ahead, Mike. Milk it for all it's worth.
We painted the car black and white, and people loved it. And then we made the head from a recycled milk carton, and then we put a tail on it. But the real secret is the horn. people know the car moves, and people moo at the car now. So when they see it, they moo because they want it to move back.
And so far, I've found very few people who will ride in it. And of those few, there are quite a few that ride about a block and then have to get out because they can't take it anymore. Or they hide. Unfortunately, it's a big car because they can get pretty low. So I'm looking for the right woman to take the other seat. That might be a while, as you can imagine. But that's just the way it goes.
When you're born to be weird, finding the perfect mate can be a lifelong quest. Mike Croart's just fine with that. In fact, he wouldn't have it any other way. And Kelly Lyles? Her lifestyle leaves her as contented as a cat on a couch, even if it doesn't put much money in the kitty. Kevin Elliott's riding high on his one-of-a-kind Chevette. Now, if he just had all the empties to go with those bottle caps. Then there's that incorrigible combo, Steve and Gary Ann, still working on daughter Carmen. You know, deep, deep down, I'm sure she's as wonderfully weird as the rest of us.